By 2030, parts of Texas could start running out of water, not in some distant future, in just 5 years.
Imagine turning on your faucet in Houston or Dallas and nothing comes out. No shower, no drinking water, no water for your kids.
That's not fear mongering. That's what the Texas Water Development Board is warning could happen if we don't act fast.
So today we're breaking down the real story behind Texas's water crisis because this affects every single one of us.
Hey everyone, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Kristen.
And we're LoveLeigh Adventures. We usually take you guys on road trips across Texas, exploring cool towns, hidden gems, and all that good stuff.
But today we need to talk about something serious, something that could fundamentally change life in Texas as we know it.
The Texas Tribune just published an in-depth report on our state's water supply. And honestly, the numbers are scary.
So let's dive in. Will Texas actually run out of water? And if so, what can we do about it?
Okay, so first question, will Texas actually run out of water?
And the answer is it's complicated. But yeah, parts of Texas could face severe water shortages starting around 2030.
That's according to the state's 2022 water plan. We're talking about drinking water, water from farming, and even wastewater treatment. All of it could run dangerously low.
Now that's assuming a few worst case scenarios happen all at once.
Like a record-breaking drought hitting the entire state.
And state leaders failing to invest in new water infrastructures and conservation projects.
But here's the thing. Even if we do everything right, the long-term outlook isn't great. By 2070, groundwater availability is projected to drop by 25%.
Wait, groundwater. That's the water underground in aquifers, right?
Exactly. And that makes up half of our total water supply. So when you combine groundwater with surface water, the stuff in lakes and rivers, our total supply could decline by 18% by 2070.
And that's insane.
And that's partly because of how many people are expected to be living in Texas by then. More people, same amount of water. You do the math.
All right. So which parts of Texas are most at risk?
Good question. Texas actually has 16 different planning regions, and each one faces its own unique challenges.
Generally speaking, East Texas is more water rich because it's greener and gets more rain. West Texas, much drier.
And South Texas, especially the Rio Grande Valley, has been hit hard by an ongoing drought. Plus, there's this whole complicated situation with Mexico over shared water rights.
Yeah, and I didn't realize this, but the Texas Tribune actually created a tool where you can type in your address and see where your local water comes from and what the projections look like for your area.
That's crazy useful. We'll link that in the description.
Because honestly, if you live in Houston versus El Paso versus the Panhandle, your water supply could be completely different.
So who's actually in charge of managing all this water?
That's where things get a little bureaucratic, but stick with us.
There are two main agencies. First, there's the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCEQ.
They manage surface water, the water in lakes, rivers, reservoirs. In Texas, the state actually owns the water.
Right. And since 1967, the TCEQ has been issuing permits to farmers, ranchers, cities, and businesses, giving them the right to use that water.
And here's something wild. Those permits are issued on a first-come, first-served basis.
Which means during droughts, whoever got their permit earliest gets water first. Everyone else, you're out of luck.
That seems problematic.
Yeah, especially when you think about how much Texas has grown since the 1960s.
Now, there's also Texas Water Development Board, which is different. They act like a bank. They fund water projects and do long-term planning.
And this year, Texas voters approved $20 billion to fund water projects over the next 20 years.
That sounds like a lot.
It is, but according to the Texas Tribune, it might not nearly be enough.
What about groundwater? How do they measure how much is available?
So groundwater is managed totally differently. There are 98 groundwater districts across Texas that cover nearly 78% of the state.
Each district monitors wells, tracks water levels, and uses computer models to predict how much water can be pumped without depleting the aquifer for future generations.
They call these projections desired future conditions. Basically, it's their way of balancing current needs with making sure there's water left for our kids and grandkids.
And the Texas Water Development Board reviews all of that to make sure the math checks out.
But here's the scary part. Even with all that planning, we're still looking at a 25% drop in groundwater by 2070.
Which means those aquifers are being used faster than they can replenish.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have to talk about climate change. How much is that actually affecting our reservoirs?
Yeah, this is where it gets really concerning.
Research shows that climate change is going to mess with water quality in Texas reservoirs in a big way. We're talking increased water temperatures, more sulfates and chlorides.
And decreasing oxygen levels, which makes water more acidic.
That doesn't just hurt the fish and the ecosystem in the reservoirs. It affects the water we drink and we use for recreation.
And then there's this heat issue. The Texas Tribune did an analysis that found the hotter Texas gets, the more water levels and reservoirs drop.
Because higher temperatures dry out the soil faster, which means less rainwater flows into the rivers and the streams.
And the heat also causes more water to evaporate from reservoirs.
So it's this vicious cycle.
And remember, surface water, which is stored in those reservoirs, makes up about half of our total water supply.
So climate change is making one of those, our biggest water sources, less and less reliable.
That's the bottom line.
All right, last question before we talk solutions. Which part of Texas has the best water?
Okay, so there was actually a statewide competition in 2024 where judges tasted and smelled water samples from 23 different providers.
That's a thing.
Yeah, and Dallas won. Denton came in second.
So North Texas for the win.
Though I should mention, even North Texas water has issues with taste, odor, and hardness from naturally occurring minerals.
But they do rigorous testing to make sure it meets all state and federal standards.
So it's safe, just maybe not YouTube worthy.
Okay, so we painted a pretty bleak picture, but it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Right. Texas has a plan. It just requires massive investment and commitment.
So what are the solutions?
First, desalination, turning salt water from the Gulf into drinking water.
That's expensive, but it worked.
Then there's aquifer storage and recovery, basically storing water underground during wet years so you can use it during droughts.
And conservation, just using less water overall.
Fixing our infrastructure is huge too. Water lines break all the time across Texas, and that wastes millions of gallons.
And that's $20 billion voters just approved. That's going towards all of this.
It's a start. It might not be enough, but it's a start.
The key is that we all have to take this seriously. It isn't a future problem. It's happening now.
And every Texan has a role to play, whether it's supporting these projects, conserving water at home, or just staying informed.
Because Texas isn't going to run out of water overnight. But if we ignore the warning signs, we're going to be in real trouble.
The good news, we still have time to fix this.
So what do you think, guys? Do you believe Texas will actually run out of water?
Let us know in the comments where you're from and what your town or city is doing about this.
Are you seeing conservation efforts, new projects, or is everyone just hoping for the best?
We want to hear from you.
And if you learned something today, hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep bringing you the real stories about Texas.
We're Patrick and Kristen with LoveLeigh Adventures.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.